Ambassador Vexthar's three eyes widened in horror as the holographic display flickered to life in the Galactic Council chamber. The emergency session had been called with unprecedented urgency, and now he understood why. The isolation zone, Sector 7749, more commonly known as the Death Sphere, had been breached. From within. "This is impossible," High Counselor Zixara hissed, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's ambient light into anxious patterns. "Nothing survives in that zone. Nothing." The Death Sphere had earned its reputation over millennia. It was a region of space so hostile, so unforgiving, that the Council had long ago declared it a quarantine zone. Rogue black holes, unpredictable spatial anomalies, radiation storms that could strip a battleship's hull in seconds, and gravitational eddies that turned navigation into a death sentence. 17 species had sent expeditions into its borders. None had returned, but 73,000 cycles ago, the Council's deep space monitoring stations had detected something extraordinary. Artificial transmissions originating from within the Death Sphere. Then silence. The Council had debated for decades before reaching a consensus. Whatever civilization existed in that nightmare would either destroy itself or remain trapped forever. They directed warning beacons and moved on. Now, a fleet was emerging. Vessel composition analysis complete, the station AI announced in its flat, emotionless tone, detecting approximately 247 ships of varying sizes. Hull composition unknown alloys. Energy signatures unprecedented. They are broadcasting a message on all frequencies. "Play it," Vexthar commanded, though every survival instinct in his body screamed to order an immediate retreat. The message crackled through the chamber's speakers, carried on a simple radio wave, a primitive technology the Council hadn't used in eons. The voice was rough, determined, and utterly alien in its cadence. "This is Fleet Admiral Chen of the United Earth Nations. We come in peace, seeking dialogue with the Galactic Council. We have traveled far and overcome much. We respectfully request an audience. Earth." The word appeared in the translation matrix along with a cascade of data that made Vexithar's blood run cold. The species called themselves humans, and they had evolved in the very heart of the Death Sphere, on a planet that orbited a stable star by sheer cosmic accident, an impossible oasis in an ocean of chaos. "They grew up in that," whispered Counselor Morphix, his gelatinous form quivering. "How?" The answer became clear as the intelligence reports flooded in. Humans hadn't just survived the Death Sphere, they had thrived in it. Their planet sat in the gravitational sweet spot of 3 competing black holes, creating a safe zone that would still be considered a hazard anywhere else in the galaxy. To reach their own moon, they had to navigate radiation belts that would kill most species. Their star occasionally threw off coronal mass ejections that had forced them to develop shielding technology, millennia ahead of their expected developmental curve. Space travel, for humans, wasn't an adventure. It was a necessity. It was survival. "Look at their ship designs," said Zixara, her voice hollow with disbelief. The holographic displays showed vessels that looked more like fortresses than exploration craft. Redundant systems upon redundant systems. Shielding that could withstand direct hits from stellar phenomena. Engines that could punch through spatial anomalies that would trap conventional ships for eternity. "These aren't exploration vessels," Vexthar realized. "These are lifeboats. They built them to escape their own neighborhood." But what terrified the Council most wasn't the humans' technology. It was their psychological profile. Dr. Crinmoth, the Council's xenopsychologist, presented his findings with trembling appendages. According to their cultural transmissions, humans possess something they call persistence hunting. On their evolutionary path, they didn't develop venom or claws or natural armor. Instead, they learned to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They call it endurance. They're biologically programmed to never give up. The implications hung heavy in the chamber. A species that had spent its entire existence battling impossible odds, that had learned to navigate cosmic nightmares as a rite of passage, that literally could not conceive of surrender. Such a species was now knocking on the Council's door. "What do they want?" asked Morphix. Another transmission provided the answer. Admiral Chen's face appeared on screen. Bilateral symmetry, predatory forward-facing eyes, the expression that might have been a smile or a threat display. "We've been alone for too long," she said. We've mapped our local stellar neighborhood, colonized 17 systems, and developed technologies we're eager to share. We understand you've marked our region as dangerous. We'd like to help you navigate it. We'd also like to apply for council membership. The silence that followed was deafening. Vexthar understood the choice before them. They could reject humanity, turn away a species that had conquered the unconquerable, but a species that had survived the death sphere wouldn't simply accept rejection. They would explore, expand, and encounter other council species on their own terms, without guidance or restrictions. Or they could welcome them, integrate them, and hope that humanity's terrifying resilience could be channeled constructively. There's something else, Zixara said quietly, pulling up a detailed scan of the human fleet. Look at their medical bays, their botanical sections, their cultural archives. They didn't just come seeking membership. They came prepared to be rejected, to continue alone if necessary. They brought everything they need to survive and thrive without us. That was the final terrifying truth. Humanity didn't need the Galactic Council. They were offering partnership as a courtesy, not a necessity. A species forged in cosmic fire, shaped by relentless adversity, had emerged from their prison not as refugees, but as equals. Vexthar cast his vote to accept their application, along with the majority of the council. Not out of kindness or curiosity, but out of a primal, instinctive calculation. It was better to have these terrifying persistence predators as allies than to wonder what they might become as rivals. The age of humanity had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.